Oh my gosh. Let's mute that. Okay, here we go. Commercials. Commercials are annoying. What's up, everybody? I'm back again. This is basically the full video that I did of the birth of a Banshee a while ago. It's a little over an hour, so I'm here just streaming this pre-recorded video. And I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have about what I'm doing or anything art related. So that's the point of this video. Now let's take a look at what is a Banshee. I'm gonna look that up. Banshee D&D. See what people say. This is from Forgotten Realms. It says, a Banshee, also known as a groaning spirit or a wailing ghost, was a female undead phantom, typically a selfish, strong-willed spirit that embodied the essence of hideousness. Oftentimes, they were the spirits of elven women, whom in life had an evil alignment. Well, that's interesting. So Banshee doesn't have a defined shape, but rather a misty form with vague and flowing features that mirrored her former form in life. As time wore on, a Banshee became more and more distorted, though it was still recognizable as a humanoid. Behavior. Look at that. Banshees tended to enjoy bringing death to any living creature that they came across. Oh. They have abilities. Let's see here. Although their shape was incorporeal, the appearance of a Banshee was horrific, and their mere presence would draw the energy from their surroundings to the point of stunting local floral growth. Being a form of undead, Banshees were immune to all manner of spells that affected the mind, such as charm or sleep. They were also typically impervious to harm from any form of lightning or excessive cold. What else is there? Variants. Combat. What are you doing in combat? Banshees hated all living things with an unholy fury. They could sense life approaching them and would attack anyone who trespassed in their territory. Along with their terrifying visage, the mere chilling touch of a Banshee would drain her victim. The Banshee's most feared weapon was a piercing wail that was as harmful as any material weapon. This scream was deadly to almost all who could hear. Probably ripped the inside of your head. That's crazy. Anyways, and that's all about Banshees there. And here I'm sketching out the body, very loose. So as you notice, I just kind of bounce around the image, throwing lines out, shapes, whatnot. I erase the ones that I don't like. But the point of having all those lines underneath the paper, which is called the what my teacher called them. She has a name for that. Substructure. I remembered. Wow. All those sketch lines underneath, it's called a substructure. And the point of those lines is to help you define your image. And the ones that you don't like, you kind of just erase. But it's good to have some substructure underneath your drawings because it shows how this drawing is built. It's almost like the blueprint of a house. you know, a substructure. I know my original thought was having this Banshee just come out of, it doesn't show the ground, but come out of either the ground or the atmosphere that's near the ground. This could be happening underground in the mausoleum or in a different dimension or whatever. But this thing's just like screaming out from the depths of wherever it was buried, right? So that's why I have the Banshee like shooting up, screaming into existence. I'm just goofing around with the eyeballs there. I was like, let's put little people here and there and see how that plays out. I was trying to figure out how to do the nose, so I just put some nostrils. I know I wanted to give it a long, sort of deformed mouth, like the jaws were not really attached to the skull, kind of like disjointed. After all, it's dead, so. And of course I want to give it gnarly teeth. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I had to use the restroom. Here I'm working on just defining different parts of the creature. Obviously, it's sort of decrepit thing. So you can see its bones. Now trying to give the body some more structure, because this is it's sort of like a spirit creature, and it's materializing as it's being born. So part of it's going to be some sort of, it's like mist. That's why it's kind of swirly like that. Basically, the upper body is already materializing. Now I'm taking a pause, trying to figure out, what am I going to do next? So that's where I draw, I think I draw 3 arms. I think there are 3 arms coming from below the Banshee. Now these 3 arms are sort of like, they're not part of the Banshee, but it could be like other Banshees that are going to be born soon, or it's up to the viewer. You decide what they are. I believe I put 3 arms. It could also be the 3 arms of a spell. Maybe a wizard cast a spell to bring a Banshee into being, and these arms that are just floating around were part of the spell to cast this creature into being. But I felt like I had to put something in there. Something that was kind of creepy. So if you guys have any questions about any art-related questions, here to answer them. Questions about what I'm doing, or just art in general. Or questions about me, like who am I? You know, where I come from. Like, when did you start drawing? Why did you start drawing? Any art-related question, or personal questions about my career. I have to say that click eraser is my favorite erasers. I do have both. I have that one, and I have a bigger one for erasing like a lot of pencil sketch lines. I have to get a little close up here. I think I'm going to work on the face. I'm going to define the teeth, because originally I just put some, sorry, I call it placeholder information for teeth. So now I'm going to go in there, and you notice I didn't erase the sketch lines. They're there. There's a substructure of the teeth, and it kind of just, it adds to it. So I just left it alone. So sketch lines in your drawing are good, as long as they're light. You know, like for example, I did some light colored sketch lines, which is fine, because later on I go with a darker color line. Wonder why I erased that. I guess I want to make it pointier. Sometimes when I watch these videos, I wonder why I do certain things. At the time, I was like, why did I do that? I wonder why. Because, when you're sort of in the zone of sketching or drawing, you just go with the flow. You do things without thinking too much. You just do stuff. And obviously this here, I was going to have the tongue show up. I mean, I changed my mind. I can't remember if it has a tongue or not. So you'll see me take pauses just like that. And those pauses is me thinking about different parts of the character, and like there I define the shoulders because I want to put some bones there. So give it bony shoulders. So now I'm defining the chest area. Sketch lines are still there. Now I'm blocking in shadow work. Now I'm thinking about giving it more of an angle of the body. I was like, what if I do that instead? I'm thinking of other angles for the body, but I don't think I like that idea. Okay, erase that line. And you won't know until you try it. Visualize it, and then you try it, and like, it didn't work, so I just erase it. Because you can avoid all this work if you have tracing paper. You put tracing paper over this and try all these different lines or positions for certain parts of the body on the tracing paper until you get one that you like, but then you draw it once you decide what you like best. You notice how I stagger the fingers? I did that because I want it to look interesting. One finger overlap one finger and one finger above the other two fingers. You should think about those kind of things when you draw hands. Try to think of the interesting looking positions for your fingers that look good. I think I'm drawing some vein work here. I think I have some veins on the hand. It's a very skinny Banshee, pretty skeletal, bony. There's some muscles, but it's nice to have some, to show some veins. And I just simply shade in the tips of the finger and trail it off. I don't think I do any more than that with the hand. I might just like emphasize more shadows here and there, but maybe darken some lines, but that's pretty much just the hand. I think I do darken it later though, from what I remember. And here I decided to show a little more muscle structure towards the rib cage. And then just sort of lighten it, darken it. Still playing with light and shadow there. It's like, not sure if I like that. Still fiddling around with that lighting there. I had to make that hand in front of him darker so it pops up from the body. So you gotta play around with your values. I had to mute this part of the video because it had music in the background. And, that gets copywritten, so. I gotta remember not to put music while I'm drawing. Now I'm working on some veins on the chest. I'm just adding the little details. You don't need to put veins, but I was just having fun with that. And let me know if you guys have any questions about what I'm drawing or techniques or anything to do with art. Still goofing around with some veins. Can't remember if I kept all those veins or not, or if I got rid of them. We got the ambulance over here in my neighborhood. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Still fiddling around with the shadows and veins. The lighting's coming from above. So I have to sort of visualize and figure out how it would hit the body. Get to some shading now, and that gives it brings the body to life. Working at the vein on the other hand now. You notice I don't make a solid line. It goes dark to light. I'm gonna make my lines dark to light. That's how you make it look dynamic, more interesting than having a one dark line all the way across. Let's work on some details of the head. So I start getting a little darker. I gradually work up my values from light to dark. And I tend to keep a lot of my substructure, a lot of my sketch lines there. I get to work on the hair now. And part of his skull. I think I was playing with the idea of showing part of its skull through the hair. I'm not sure if I like that. And I'm defining the ridge of the nose there. Put a little shadow there to show that the light's from above. Now defining the cheekbones. This is ugly. It's an ugly creature. Now I'm defining the gums. They have gums in there. I think I ended up shading it in. You don't want to put too much detail. I think I left it in shadow. Give me the Tina Turner hairstyle. I'll be muted unless you guys have questions. And here I'm trying to give the hair volume because we have the lighting coming from above, so we have a lot of shadows down below. Now here's the fun part. I could pop the teeth out by making that mouth really dark. And now I'm using my eraser to get rid of some of the details. I think I got too dark or something. My eraser is actually a drawing tool. I think here I decided to blend in the part of the mouth with the hair in the back. I'm shading the teeth. If you guys have any questions about my artwork or what I'm doing, just let me know. I'm muted. I'm suggesting like different hairs that out of they're just shooting out of its head, because banshees don't have hairdressers, so it's just messy looking hair. So now I'm defining the hand there by putting shadows on the back of the hand. When you do shading, it really kicks your artwork to like another level of realism, even though it's fantasy. But if you can work with light and shadow and pop things out, it just makes your artwork and your drawings that much more cool looking. Now I'm darkening this hand because it has to pop up in front of the Banshee. I don't want my values to get mixed with the Banshee. And again, with this hand, I want to give it some interesting positions with the fingers. So it looks good. I believe that's a thumb back there. This part of the video I had to mute because I had music playing in the background, so it's muted, unfortunately. So, but if you have any questions about what I'm doing, or art-related questions at all, let me know. Now I'm starting to refine my shading on this creature. Um, and there's a lot of steps that I go through. General shading, building up shading, and towards the end I start finessing the shadows. Now this part of the drawing, I'm making that part of the body darker so it pops up from the hand behind it. So this is where playing with your values is very important. If you want something to stand out from something in the background, that subject in the background has to be lighter than the subject in the foreground, and so forth. And right here I have the hair sort of just disappeared in the background. And now it's time to work on the other hand. And as you notice, I'm really roughly drawing the fingers in. These are not pretty lines. They're just really sketchy, ugly lines. But it works for me. It's not a big deal to me. After all, these hands are not even the main focus, so I don't spend too much time on doing like beautiful, creepy hands. There's no point to it. And I'm refining parts of the drawing I need that need to be refined, darken certain areas, things like that. I'm going with a darker lid now, and I'm putting in just punching it up with darker contrast in certain areas to make it a little more dynamic, give it a little more interest. This is basically the last step that I do when this is as dark as I'm gonna get. I don't get any darker than this. I do a little outlining there for the rib cage. It's just it looks good when you can outline some of the darker areas. And if I don't like certain details, I just erase them. Let me just do that right now. And sometimes I'm very indecisive. I think this is the third time I've shaded that area and erased it. I'm trying to find something that looks good to me. I darkened that part of the hair so you could see the arm better. I think I sign it here, and it's the finished sketch drawing of mine. This was done back in 2021. It's been a while. I'm gonna zoom out, and I'm gonna zoom in so you can see the whole thing. Well, thanks for watching this video, guys. I'll see you guys sometime in the future. Now that spring's coming up, I'll be doing more lives because my garage is not so freezing. It's warming up now. I can go back there and start doing more painting and more sketching. More uploads. See you guys.